today out there in the wonderful world that we live in. Before we proceed, before we get into today's events, we got to talk about last night. I need to know, did you see the controversy that was taking place last night across the NBA in the world of officiating? Yes, there were many questionable calls going all over the place in different directions. What are these referees up to? We don't know, but what I want to hone in on the Portland OKC game. Yes, everyone knows how I feel about OKC. I think SGA is going to be a star for the next 10, 15 years to come. But that's not what I want to highlight. I want to highlight the end of game antics that took place between the officiating team out there and one Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers that I was totally unaware of, was even the head coach. Nonetheless, long story short, waning moments of the game, a timeout needed to be called. Chauncey Billups called the timeout in the traditional form of which a timeout is called. Timeout. Simultaneously, though, the referee was calling a double dribble, resulting in a turnover. Chauncey Billups, not that he became another Chauncey Billups, but he was beside himself, furious, upset. He screamed to the holy heavens. Well, he didn't scream, but he showed his distaste in a very distasteful manner, in which he did receive a gesture similar to the one that he was not recognized. Beep, beep, tacked him up. And for good measure, they gave him another one and escorted him off the court. Long story shorter, OKC ended up winning that game. Consequently, by the amount of points that were made on the technical free throws. So, what I don't understand is, how did all the referees, everyone in the building, the recording mechanical systems that they have to capture elements and then be able to play it back, no one could stop the play and say, slow down. He did call timeout. I don't understand it. Quite frankly, I don't like it. I don't get it. And we got to be better. We have to be better, because not only are people's hopes and dreams and wishes hanging on every shot, people's bank accounts are hanging on every shot and every point spread. It's kind of insane, to be quite frank. And the other thing, guys, besides poor officiating last night that took place that you might have heard, and I find the most joy in of all the things that happened last evening, one Adrian Griffin. Yes, the former coach of the 30-13 Milwaukee Bucks was asked to not come into work today. That is the polite way to say he was fired. Yes, kicked out on the streets with a 30-13 record. So, if you think you're doing a bang job at your job, and you think they'll never let me go, ask Adrian Griffin. 30-13. There are teams with 4 wins and their coaches are going to work today. That just shows you one thing and one thing alone. Life's not fair. But in a small way, justice always gets served. Sometimes it takes a while. So by the time it shows up, it's on a plate and it's cold. Just the way payback likes to be served. Hey Dame, how you like it now out there in Milwaukee, huh? How you like it out there now? We have a Hall of Fame coach down in Miami. He's probably going to coach Miami for the next trillion years. They just gave him an 8-year extension. Dame, how does it feel now out there in Milwaukee? Getting ready to potentially be coached by Doc Rivers. Listen, do you know what that means? World, I'm going to tell you now. You're hearing this first on Livingston Sporting News. The second that Doc Rivers signs on the line and becomes the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, if that happens, speculatively I am saying this, you can guarantee lock, stock, and barrel the Milwaukee Bucks will have a second-round exit. And only if the planets would align properly, it'll be against the Miami Heat. And if there is any truth to the story writing stuff, then you can guarantee Milwaukee and Miami in the finals. Because Adrian Griffin, they're a close friend of a one Jimmy Butler. Whew, yes, storylines heating up. Riveting. The only other NBA action is, it's coming up this summer. Out in Paris, we have the Olympics coming. So now I totally understand why NBA sent the game out there. Guys, the NBA know what's up. They know what they're doing. It's all marketing. It's all marketing. That's why I set them out there. They're prepping the world. The NBA's coming to Paris. Guys, we better not lose. This is going to be the hardest Olympics ever. The world has caught up. This is no longer Dream Team. It's not 1992, guys. It's not going to be a walk in the park. LeBron's not 29 anymore. That's a elder LeBron that's going out there. This is going to be Steph's first time, if he even goes. Yes, we have Embiid. Congratulations. New American citizen as of 2022. I did not know that. But we're going to have a lot of young guys going out there. Guys, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for us. I'm a little nervous, guys. We have to get the gold. We invented the game. Staying in basketball, but as always, pivoting to the NCAA. If you have a ranked team, if you have a number next to your school, that might not be a good sign. Kentucky, 6, they're not going to be 6 anymore because they lost. And they lost beat down city, South Carolina. Oklahoma, that 11, not going to say 11 anymore because they lost. I don't understand. Are teams, is there parity in NCAA, or are the voters, or do they just not know how to select what team should be ranked? Or are we just ranking off emotions? Because it's Kentucky, they must be a good team. I wonder that. The only other ranked team that really came through was Houston, number 4, Houston. Now, this is the team yesterday, guys, that I was saying I was losing a little confidence in, slightly. But this is what I will say. I will say there's a lot of things floating around in Houston. The McDonald's All-American game, which is coming up. I'm going to talk about that in a second. That's being played in Houston. And baseball, Houston. It's just like Houston's been floating around everywhere. A lot lately. So what I will say is keep an eye on that. I don't know if you believe in storylines and rigged up stuff, or sometimes you can just see the writing on the wall. And I can see the writing on the wall. So I'm throwing Houston my bracket watch. I'll get a little more in depth. Probably by mid-February, I'll really get into my bracket watch. But I'm building a list now, guys. I'm building a list. We're gonna hit. Listen, guys. We're gonna hit those brackets. Oh, you better bet it. No pun intended. But you better bet it. Okay. McDonald's All-American game. I don't really like to talk about the kids, but I'm gonna talk about this one. Cooper Flagg, the number 1 ranked baller. He decided to go to Duke and not come to UConn, so I'm a little scorned. Hey, Cooper, why didn't you want to come up here? I know it's cold. Trust me. And Stores is like on a farm. It's not really too much to do. The taxes are really high, so if you had a car, you probably got a Okay. I can see why you didn't want to come up here. So, leaving from college, before we pivot, how you guys doing? Talk to me. This is the time for you. I bring you sports. I give you space. Reflect. Life is busy. If you made it this far, life is busy. Let's just take 10 seconds. Reflect on whatever. Take a moment. Okay, we're back. Now, as you all know by now, I have introduced my first segment of my show. It's my first sponsor segment, yet I do not have sponsors as of yet. So, in lieu of sponsorship, I am introducing a list of sponsors who are not sponsoring the Livingston Sporting News. Day 1 was Dunkin' Donuts. Yesterday was Dutch Masters. Today, our not sponsor is Arizona. Whenever I'm thirsty, I do drink water. You have to drink water. But I don't like to spend a lot of money because water's free. $1. In most places, $1. Now, if you want to get fancy and you see the ones with the bottles, with the tops, those are like $1.40. But 22 fluid ounces for $1 when you're thirsty and you're tired of drinking water. The Livingston Sporting News wholeheartedly stands behind Arizona and its many. I mean, they have like 1 million flavors. We stand behind Arizona. Our sponsor, not sponsored, At least not yet. Okay, guys, a little baseball. Hall of Fame. They've selected. They've picked 3. I don't care who they picked. Quite frankly, to me, the Hall of Fame is a sham. It's a sham. These baseball writers of America, they hide behind their screens and they place votes. Who are these people? Have they played baseball? What is their resume? Why do they get the vote? I don't understand this. If Andrew Jones is not in the Hall of Fame, that Hall of Fame is fraudulent. And this is coming from a Mets fan. It's fraudulent. And Buster Olney, shout out to Buster Olney, ESPN. Not as if I know him, but I envision if I knew him, we would have in-depth conversation about baseball. I think I would give him different perspectives. I think he would educate me on history, but I think I would give Buster Olney a different perspective. Nonetheless, I digress. In his own words, the advanced analytics, that's what's helping some of these writers really get into the minutia, really get into the weeds of what people have done. I'm sorry, don't they have eyes, Buster? You can't see that Andrew Jones is a Hall of Famer center fielder? You need advanced analytics? I'm going to say it. I don't do this because I'm not a race baiter. But if you do not believe that there is some 90-year-old sports writer somewhere, 72-year-old sports writer, that, to their defense, that's the way it was. And they're not coming up off of that. They're not going to respect the talents. They're just not. This is crazy. Why don't we let AI decide? Advanced analytics? Why don't we just take numbers? Why don't we do this? I'm about to fix it. World, here it is. Let's create an advanced AI system. Let's all get together and say, what does a Hall of Fame career look like? What does it look like? What are the numbers we want that go in the Hall of Fame, right? And then we just take a person's career and we input the numbers and we ask AI. Because Baseball Writer Associations of America, your list is fraudulent until Andrew Jones is in the Hall of Fame. And Billy Wagner, while we're at it, 422 saves? 422 saves? You know how many people have done that? Buster, I'm about to impress you with this one. You know how many people have done that in Major League Baseball history? 8. Guys, I didn't know I was going to get that passionate. Got my notes all over the place. Let me get focused. Guys, NHL. So I introduced a series last week that was going to help you guys find a team if you don't have a hockey team. So I introduced front runners. If you want to relatively guarantee you're going to at least make it to the playoffs all the time, these are the teams you need to follow. Chicago Blackhawks, Detroit Red Wings, Colorado Avalanche, Tampa Bay Lightning, Pittsburgh Penguins. Tomorrow, I'm going to introduce the teams that if you want your heart to break every single time, these are the teams. Some of us like to be tortured. No judge. We all have fetishes. So I will say this. Tomorrow, that's what I'm going to introduce. Tonight, to wet your whistle, to get a little bit ready for the NHL talk tomorrow, you could put on TNT and check out my team, Carolina Hurricanes. No, not from Carolina. But they used to be the Hartford Whalers, and we don't have a professional team. So I still follow them. Don't judge me. I probably should let them go because they played us, but hey, it's my life. They're going against the Boston Bruins. Now, what I can tell you about the Boston Bruins, and the reason why I left them off of the list of frontrunners, Boston, I'll explain. Because the Boston Bruins are like the Milwaukee Bucks. They'll be number 1 all season and then go into the league finals and choke it all away. Makes no sense to me. I don't understand it. How can these front-running teams choke it all away? I don't know. Pressure's a real thing. It's a real thing. So that's what's on deck for tomorrow. Guys, short sport day last night. Not too many games going on. All the front runners won. So tonight we have a big slate of action. We have 8 games going on tonight. So I want to take this time before I get up out of here, guys, and I want to tell you really quick. Thierry Rozier is now a Miami Heat. Yes, we don't typically make big splashes when it comes to trades, and I don't typically poke out my chest because y'all know what it is when we get to the playoffs. I mean, no, you guys know what it is when we get to the playoffs. So, with all that being said, I would like to say this, though. I am a little excited now. I think I'm a little excited now. Can you imagine all of my players? Yes, I know. They're not my team, but my players. Jimmy, Terry, Tyler, Bam, and then you get my boy Hawkes back on the court. The Serbian listen to me. NBA World, watch out. Dame. Could have been you, Dame. It could have been you, Dame.